Hi everyone! So in my last devlog I was talking a lot about UI design, and since I'm now making this design from Illustrator to Unreal, I thought why I don't record it so you guys can see my process. So this is Illustrator and you can see the static design here, and I want to show you how it looks in Unreal. So as you can see here we have the widget, and I want to show you how this widget looks in game. So if I go to the main UI and then go to skills, you can see here the design. And so far it's not working. I mean, it's not working in functionality where you can buy skills and you can see we have like there is no icons, the information is not changing, but at least you can see the layout and see the design in Unreal. And a couple of things I want to show you here. It's in this case, if we go to skills on my UI, you can see this widget has been made just by using the container, which is this one, and the skill attribute, which is this. And this is done this way because I always try to be modular in my design, so I can reuse as much as I can elements that share the same functionality. Another thing I want to mention, it's I like to be very organized with my folders, just because working with UI, it quickly escalates and you're gonna be having a ton of screens, not screens, but sprites and images, and so I would recommend to try to be organized. So in this case I have a folder for sprites, another folder for UI, and then I have, for example, in this case, all my sprites here for the skills, and in the same way I have all my widgets here for the skills. So if we go back to Illustrator, I want to show you, I have another document where I cut all the pieces. So this is a way that I feel very familiar with. I mean, I work as a web designer for like a lot of years, so this is kind of the similar process that we were doing when, converting a static design from Photoshop to HTML and CSS. So you always try to think, okay, what are the pieces that I'm gonna need, how I'm gonna reuse them. And here you can see I have all the pieces. They are in gray just because like that I can show you. So yeah, I have my pieces here, and as I was saying, I try to reuse them as much as I can. Here we could be, using this one and this one are very similar, just they are a little different. This one has more padding, and I decided to have them different, the same with these ones. For example, these two are the same, it's just like different sizes and different rotation. And when you think about modular design, you have to think as well in which ways you will be using your sprites or your objects, because sometimes it's the same object but it's gonna have a different functionality or a different use. So if you make an edit there and you have been using it everywhere, then it's gonna replicate a change. So sometimes you don't want that. That's why here I have a couple of sprites that look the same, but I have them different. Hope that makes sense. So another thing I want to show you, it's usually all of these would be in white, and the only one that I'm keeping is this one, because we have a border. The border here it's white as well. I just put it in red so we can see it, otherwise it's not. And the reason to do this, if I go back to Unreal and we go to our sprites, skills, you can see all of them are white, and this is done this way because once they are in Unreal, for me it's very easy to change the color and the transparency. For example, here this is red, sorry. So this is the original. See, this one is the original color. So then it's very easy. Again, thinking about, you know, reusing and modularity. It's like, okay, I have this hexagon that now I can use, and I just can change the color here. And these colors are going to be changing by code later on when I add all the functionalities. So yeah, a couple of things to mention here. For example, the widget for the attributes. You can see it's just a button. It has a text and has a background. Again, this background is going to be changing depending on the functionalities. That's why it's ticket as a variable. And then in the container, mostly all the elements are here. I'm not reusing other widgets just for these ones. And mostly the way I lay out stuff, it's always using vertical boxes and horizontal boxes. I use sometimes the spacers, and I try to avoid resize boxes and the scale boxes because from my understanding they use two passes, so they are not that performant. So another thing I like to use is in some cases I use materials instead of images, just because in a material you can pack several images, and that's a little bit more performant. But yeah, that's most of it. I mean, it's pretty simple. And yeah, I think we can just play the time lapse, and if you have any questions, any problems, or any doubts, please just leave a comment in the comments below, and I'll try to help as much as I can. So I hope you find some interesting information here, and yeah, enjoy the time lapse. So here you can see me using or reusing as foundation the Quest widget. I just duplicated, and now I'm removing the functionality, since a lot of the functionality is tied up to some graphical elements. The same for the submenu. You can see me here like just changing, adding more buttons and the functionality in the blueprints. And then here, yeah, I'm starting just to lay out the design, and I'm using a material because that's the icon. That icon is going to be mask, so I'm using my mask material, and you're going to see me like going back and forth from Unreal to Illustrator just to make sure that I'm matching my design as close as possible. Here you can see me adjusting elements, and for that I always use the padding. It's worth to mention that there is a trick, or at least for me it's a trick, that you can use negative paddings to kind of slightly overlay elements. That's what I'm using for my lines that connect the hexagons. So here you can see me reading colors and other stuff from Illustrator. So that way I'm making sure that my design is replicated as close as possible. And then now from here it's going to be very easy, because once I establish the first hexagon, then it's mostly just copy and paste. Until this point, I'm just using images, text boxes, vertical layouts, horizontal layouts. I'm not using any user widgets yet. Another trick that I use very often is the overlay box, because that allows you to have elements overlapping. And sometimes if the padding it's not enough, you can always play with the transform. That's kind of one of the lastest things that I learned, and it's very useful, especially to overlay elements and adjust their position. It's very important as well to check how it looks in game. So now that I'm happy with the layout of the main two pieces, I'm gonna start replacing some elements with user widgets. So here you can see me creating the widget for the skill attribute that it's gonna be used in the skill container. And yeah, that was it. I hope you liked it and see you soon. Bye bye.